The National Football League is the most popular sport in America. The league itself makes over billions of dollars in revenue, while, according to a valuation done by Forbes in September of 2018, the average NFL franchise is worth $2.57 billion. With games even being played in Mexico City and in London, England, the NFL brand has proven to be profitable. In 2018, the TV ratings for the NFL regular season games were up 5% from 2017, averaging 15.8 million viewers. TV contracts, ticket sales, and merchandising flooding fall season, the NFL is here to stay for a long time. Let's dive in to give you the 101 on the organization of the NFL. Today, the NFL is made up of 32 teams that are located across the United States. They are divided by two conferences called the American Football Conference, or AFC, and the National Football Conference, or NFC. Within that conference, the 16 teams are split evenly in 4 divisions, each representing a direction on a compass: north, south, east, and west. The game itself is played on a grass or turf field that is 120 yards long and 53.3 yards wide. The field is flanked by end zones that are 10 yards long where teams have the ability to score. The rest of the field is marked every 5 yards with lines and every yard with a hash mark. Behind each end zone are goalposts that are 10 feet high and 18 feet 6 inches wide. The game consists of full 60-minute runtime that is split into 15-minute 4 quarters. In between the second and third quarter, a halftime of 12 minutes is used to allow teams to regroup. If the game is tied at the end of regulation, the NFL has an overtime period of 10 minutes to see if either team can win. If both teams have the same score, the game is considered a tie. The NFL regular season of play kicks off in the month of September and lasts to the end of December. The 256-game schedule is spread out over a span of 17 weeks, where all 32 teams in the league play 16 games each and have an rest day, or what is known as a bye week. Since each team can't play the rest of the 31 teams in one season like other professional sports, the NFL has devised a really cool way of how they do their scheduling. To show you their formula in action, I'll use the Cleveland Browns as an example. We begin with the Browns will play 6 games against their divisional opponents, 1 home and 1 away. Next up, the Browns will play 4 games against a different division within the same conference, having 2 home and 2 away games. For this example, I'll pick the AFC West. Then, there's another 4 games against a different division, but out of conference, same as 2 home and 2 away. I'll choose the NFC South. Finally, the last 2 games scheduled are against teams from the 2 remaining divisions in the same conference, so in our case, the AFC East and AFC South. How these matchups are determined are by the division rankings from the previous season. So, for example, if the Browns finished 4th last year, then they would play the 4th team in both of those divisions. The schedule rotates every year, ensuring that every team will play each of the 31 teams at least once in a 4-year period. Pretty cool, huh? Now, at the end of the regular season, the single elimination postseason begins in early January and ends in February when the championship game is played, known as the Super Bowl. 12 teams are eligible to play, 6 from each conference. The bracket is made up of all 4 divisional winners and 2 wildcard teams. The wildcard teams are the 2 non-divisional winners that have the best overall record in the conference. To illustrate how the postseason placement works, let's use 2018's postseason as an example. Out of the 4 divisional winners, whoever has the better record gets the 1-4 ranking. The number 1 and number 2 get a bye week, while number 3 and number 4 play their respective wildcard opponent. The winner of those 2 games would move on to the divisional round, on where the number 1 ranked team would play the lower seed winner. Then onward to the conference title game before the coveted Super Bowl game. When a Super Bowl winner is crowned, it marks the end of the NFL season for that year. As March rolls around, so does NFL free agency. The current structure has been introduced since 1993, and the 2 main free agent categories are restricted free agent and unrestricted free agent. The easy one to understand is unrestricted, which means that a player has completed 4 or more NFL seasons of service whose contract is expired and is free to sign with any team. Let's use an example for restricted. We have a running back for the Chicago Bears, and his contract has expired after completing 3 NFL seasons instead of 4. He now has the opportunity to negotiate with the other 31 teams in the league before the NFL draft in April. An offer is given to him by the Bears' divisional rival, the Green Bay Packers, and the running back accepts. Now, the Bears can do 1 or 2 things in response. 1, they have the right to match the offer to keep their running back and he stays. Or 2, The Bears choose not to match, and then may receive draft choice compensation that's dictated by the size of the qualifying offer. But let's say the running back receives no offers in that time. Well, the Bears retain the rights of the player. Make sense? Now, each and every team has the option to use what is known as a franchise tag. The team can offer a franchise tag to one player only that's an unrestricted free agent, which is a one-year deal worth 120% of their existing salary, or the average of the top 5 players at the position over the previous 5 years, whichever is greater. Why is this important? The team retains the player's rights, but it's used to give the franchise a chance to hold on to their best players and not lose them to bigger markets due to free agency. Remember, it's offered to an unrestricted free agent who can sign with whomever they want. It also helps the team to buy time and negotiate a potential long-term deal, which both sides need to agree on by the middle of July. If a multi-year deal isn't agreed, then the player will have to play out that one-year deal, or sit out. But with all of these multi-million-dollar contracts going to free agents left and right, isn't there a limit a team can spend? You bet. The salary cap is the amount of money teams are allowed to spend on player salaries and is enforced to all 32 teams. This gives the league as a whole a fair level playing field when it comes to free agency. When the cap was introduced in 1994, it was set at $34 million. In 2019, the cap is set at $188.2 million. When we get to the month of April, we arrive at the NFL draft. All 32 teams gets one selection per round of the 7 total rounds to choose a collegiate player that has declared for the draft or a player 3 years removed from high school. Each pick is timed and the draft itself is nationally televised. The order of the draft for every round is as follows, and I'll use 2018 as an example. Picks 1 through 20 are for non-playoff teams based on their regular season record going from worst to best. So, in 2018, the Cleveland Browns were given the number 1 pick. Spots 21 through 24 are the teams who lost in the wildcard round, ranked on their regular season record from worst to best. 25 through 28 are the divisional playoff teams who lost, and spots 29 and 30 are the conference championship teams who lost. Finally, the Super Bowl champs pick last. With the order laid out, teams will negotiate by trading future picks and players on their roster to move up to select a desired rookie in the present draft. Because of this, the order changes for future draft rounds. A great example of this was in 2018, where the Browns had the number 1 and number 4 overall pick. They were given the number 4 pick because of a trade they agreed with Houston the previous year. The Texans traded their 2018 first-round pick in a deal to draft quarterback Deshaun Watson. Because Houston finished 4th, the Browns were given that spot. Trades like this between teams will happen even after the draft is complete, going into the regular season with the trade deadline being after the conclusion of Week 8. So if each NFL team has a salary cap of $188.2 million, how is the league even making money? The NFL has 3 primary sources of revenue. NFL Ventures, which handles the merchandising like jerseys and apparel. NFL Enterprises, that consists of the NFL Network and NFL Sunday Ticket broadcasts. And television contracts, which is the bread and butter of the league, making up almost 2/3 of their entire revenue. TV is the reason why the salary cap has risen so much since 1994. With TV ratings increasing 5% from 2017 to 2018, NBC, CBS, ABC, and Fox all race to see who can outbid each other whenever a new deal is negotiated. The numbers speak for themselves. In 2018, NFL games averaged 15.8 million viewers, excluding the London broadcasts. For the primetime games, the NFL has 3 nights of just one game being broadcast nationally: Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, and Monday Night Football. Each of those nights had an increase from 2017's viewership. To finally put this into perspective, in Super Bowl 53, where the New England Patriots defeated the Los Angeles Rams 13-3, a 30-second commercial cost companies $5.25 million. That's $175,000 a second. As the Super Bowl crowns a champion and the season comes to a close, the league distributes their revenue equally among the 32 teams, regardless of performance, to make it fair. In 2017, the NFL earned a reported $14.2 billion, giving each franchise $443.75 million. Living in America, it's hard to ignore the NFL. Being the most popular sport in the country, loyal fans of all ages rep their team at school and in the workplace. fantasy football has even taken a life of its own with every new season because of the accessibility from our mobile devices. Social media has also allowed fans to follow their favorite players, giving them inside access that wasn't a possibility 2 decades ago. The NFL structure, fairness in scheduling, free agency and the draft order, and today's NFL commissioner targeting a $25 billion by 2027 with all of their revenue streams. It's safe to assume that the juggernaut known as the NFL is here to stay for a very long time. If you enjoy learning about sports or have sports-related topics, please consider subscribing.